Welcome to This Ought to Be Good. I'm DJ Mordecai. We got special guest, The Heart Tones from Hawthorne, California. What's up, y'all?
What's
How y'all
going on?
doing? So, y'all just finished, I think it was 3 shows and 3 nights for the album release. How did that feel to finally have the album drop?
It was amazing.
It was
It
amazing.
was good to finally show people what we worked hard on with Leon. I mean, we finished the album in what, like 5 days. So we
Yeah,
did
like
a
in a
lot in those
week.
5 days. We did like 14 songs, so it was cool for people to at least hear 12 of those songs on the album.
And
And we've
and
had these
you
songs for a while.
go ahead.
We've
Sorry.
like had these songs like written for what? Like, some of the songs written for like
So some of them were written for like
years ago,
about a
2
year.
years,
Like when we recorded them, it was like about a year. Like in
Yeah.
about a year.
like demos. And
Yeah,
stuff.
that was going to be my question. I knew some had been in the works for a while, and as a band, y'all have been together for a few years now. So I know having the album finally drop must feel good.
Yeah, it was
So
nice.
just for those who don't know, we're speaking with it's George, and is it Jasmine or Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Jasmine and
Hmm.
Ricky. And I watched Wax Villain's interview with y'all from like 2 years ago. Shout out to Wax Villain, and I recommend that people check out him and his interview with y'all too. Um, what were some of the songs that like y'all covered or like were inspirations for the metal band that like predated the Hard Tones? I don't know the name of that band, but
It's you, bro. That's all you.
Uh,
I
so
know I
songs.
understand it was like Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden and Metallica.
Yeah.
Like I was
So
curious.
back then before we created the Hard Tones with Jasmine and Ricky,
Hmm.
the rest of the guys, the bass player, the two guitar players, we used to play metal. And we used to cover bands like Black Sabbath, Metallica, Megadeth, Dio, all that stuff, all
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
thrash metal and stuff. So we used to do like a cover band, but also we used to do like rock or grunge. So like Nirvana, Stone Temple Pilots,
Hmm.
Soundgarden, all that stuff. So we would do all that stuff, and then that's when in high school we met Ricky, and we used to take Ricky with us to our rehearsal rooms just to jam out, as a band.
Hmm.
And he would just look at us and like play. And then there was one day when Ricky went to my house where we practiced at too, and there was a keyboard there. And he just playing around. He just jumped on the keyboard and he started messing around, right? And then later on, that's when Ricky and me took a trip, right? And
That's kind of how
and
everything went.
and that's how everything ever started
From
because
there, it
from
started
there
off.
he showed me Duran Jones and the Kitchens,
Hmm.
Isn't Any Wonder, and he was like, hey, like my dad was saying, like how come you guys don't try something like this?
Hmm.
And I listened to it and I liked it because it reminded me of what back then our families used to hear. So like uh, Richie Valens and all that stuff, but more modern.
Hmm.
And so it kind of I liked it. So he was like, hey, let's try it. So he's like, I'll jump on keys, because I
Mhm.
guess he used to play keys in middle school, just like for classes and stuff.
Hmm.
And he jumped on keys, and me and him used to hang out in my room, just making demos and stuff.
Hmm.
That we have a song called "Don't Take Me as a Fool." That song went through so many changes from the start to the finish.
Hmm.
That song has many sounds. Where if you listen to the first song, you're gonna be like, "What the hell?" Like it didn't
Hmm.
sound nothing like what it came out to.
Especially
Yeah.
to the one album.
Hmm.
For real.
What was the name of the metal band? Just curious.
We didn't really have a name. We weren't like out there playing. It was more like us just playing, and then we had different names. I forgot them, to be honest. It was more like names for like school performances,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
to be honest, I forgot a lot of the names that we had.
No worries.
Um, but yeah, we were more like to have fun. We didn't really like
Do it as like a series.
as a serious thing. I do
Hmm.
remember our guitarist Peter. He did want to start doing like some indie stuff, so
Hmm.
that's when he started doing his own stuff. Like, uh, we started basically making actual music of ours, helping him doing indie stuff, and
It's kind of what led us in like the
that's what led
soul,
us to sewing
in a
stuff.
way, like a little bit.
What was his
Hmm.
And
name?
shout out Peter. He has a song actually out that he dropped like a year ago on Spotify.
But it's on the
It's
low
like
key, like
under
it's
yeah, it's like a side thing he just threw out, but it's
yeah,
like his name I think is Pete Nova.
Pete Nova on
on
Spotify.
Spotify and all that.
And that's
Like,
Peter Chigola, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Peter, our guitar player.
And then you got Jeffrey Romero on bass and Walter Morales on guitar, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
guitar.
Those are the
And then
guys.
question for Jasmine. I think I read you used to carry the ukulele around school. Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you still carrying that around or no? You dropped
No.
that. Okay. I was curious, like, how did like your musical background and like family influences like shape your role like as lead singer?
Well, my dad, ever since I was young, my dad and my mom were always like singing around the house. But
Mhm.
my dad was the one who kind of took it more seriously. So he was in like a Spanish like banda, you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and he would take me and my brother to his gigs and have us like sing some Spanish songs.
Mm.
So I started off singing Spanish first before English when I was 5, and then my dad introduced me to Adele and
Mhm.
all of that type of music.
Mhm.
And then I started singing English, and
Everybody.
from there and on, from there and on, I just kept singing, and then I started like songwriting around 11 years old, but I didn't really take it seriously until I met the guys
Mhm.
in the band.
Rick. Oh, and sorry. I think Ricky said you just celebrated a birthday too. So happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Did the album drop on your birthday, or it was right around?
No,
Oh,
a day
okay.
before,
Close.
yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Big condos.
Ricky, can you share like the story like behind reaching out to Jasmine and like that first message kind of leading to the creation of like "Don't Take Me as a Fool" because she sent like a demo back, right? And then y'all
Yeah,
didn't meet
so
until rehearsal, right?
yeah, so me and at that time, me and George were already like we had like the chord progression for "Don't Take Me as a Fool" like done. Basically, it was such a simple like chord progression, like 1 2 1 2, and then switch, go back, switch.
Mhm.
But we didn't have like we had an idea of what we wanted to do, but we didn't have lyrics. We didn't have a vocalist at the time. But we knew we wanted to do soul, and for that song, we were looking for vocalists, and George and Jeff and the guys knew a girl from their middle school, which they went to LMS, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Lennox Middle
Yeah.
School.
Yeah, in Lennox. And that's where the whole thing from her carrying a ukulele comes from, because that's what they told me.
Mhm.
That they used to see her, walk around with ukulele, but she had a really good voice, and we checked her out on social media. We didn't follow her, we didn't really know her like that. They only knew her from middle school, from a little bit. Like, I don't know if you guys spoke to her at all.
No, we just knew her as like seeing her around walking with a ukulele.
Yes.
And then I remember that there was a girl that sang in school, so we were doing our research to see how we could get a hold of her. And little do you know, our bass player lived in the same apartment complex as her.
Mhm.
So
So
that's what kind of helped it.
that's where we kind of
Make
that's
that
what-
connection easier. And then we told him to reach out to her because we were kind of like, okay, you live in the same apartment as her. It wouldn't be weird for you to reach out and be like, hey, I got a band. We're doing this kind of music. Would you like to try it out and maybe jam out? And here's a track. He lagged it. He didn't do it. So I hit her up, I think, on the Hard Tones Instagram page when we first barely started the page, like when we
Mhm.
started social media. So we reached out to her. She said she was down, and we were like, all right, bet. Like, let's go. Let's try to make it next week, like a practice session. We sent her the track, like a little demo. She sent it back.
no,
Yeah, she liked it.
on us.
Yeah, she
lagged
did.
on
Yeah,
us.
you took, I think, a little longer to respond back, but it wasn't that long. I think you responded like 3 days, 4 days later. We were kind of like at first, like, oh, she's not gonna
No, it
respond
was
back.
long.
No, it was like
It was like
a week.
No, it was like you guys they texted me like around the first week of December. I didn't respond until December 31st.
She had to think about it for so long. But we finally got together. We practiced, and I remember she sang it, and we were kind of like, she had a good voice. Like, don't get me wrong, like Jasmine obviously has a good voice, but
Mhm.
the way she sang it was not kind of what we were going for with the instrumental.
But it's because she didn't have like a.
She didn't have that ear yet of what we were playing. She wasn't familiar with soul music, and we were barely getting familiar with it. Me from my dad being a record collector,
Mhm.
I was barely getting into it. Um, Especially I got into a lot of the modern bands and of course the oldies and the rare stuff. But we kind of showed Jasmine after that first practice session some music. I sent her a whole playlist of soul from old and new, so she could check it out. And the next time we played again, she sang it, and I remember me and George were like, we looked at each other and we were like we got kind of like chills, like, and we walked outside, like, just us two, and we were like, what do you think? Like, we both looked at each other and said that, and then
Yeah,
Mhm.
we were
like,
both
she's the
like,
one, like-
yeah, like we wanted, like, she nailed it, like that first kind. And I remember I went back to my house. That's when we were waiting for my dad's approval, and we showed my dad through a voice memo that we got, and I still have that. And he heard it and he got goosebumps, and he was like, oh yeah, that's it. He's like, that's a banger.
Don't let her go. He was
Yeah, like,
don't
you guys can't let her go. And we were like, from there we started writing music, and that's where we're at now. You know?
Yeah, I bet you wish you had like a video of your dad's reaction though. It sounds like, you know,
I know. I wish I had.
he was definitely an influence for the band creation, and then to
Yeah.
kind of like get his approval was big.
Yeah, he's the one that helped us out with the name, the Heart Tones. If it
He
wasn't for
coined
him,
it, yeah.
we would have not had that name.
And he gave us the idea of having the double E and all that.
Yeah, that's dope. And now we got a lot of bands with the double E, but y'all are definitely
I know.
in the pack. When you spoke with Wax Villain, it sounded like your inspirations like were more like contemporary. Have they like shifted, or is it still a lot of Bobby Rosa and like Duran Jones and the Indications and Brain
For the
Story?
band itself, or what do you mean?
As far as inspirations, like has y'all's like record collections grown, or like have you
I mean,
picked
I
up
think we all
more?
share,
It has grown.
I think individually we all share a little bit different inspirations, maybe.
Now we do, because now what we do, now that we're more in the industry, we are listening to more like not mainstream things.
Yeah,
you
I think
know?
I kind of. I know Jasmine for sure got into a little more some of the rare cuts too.
like rare cuts.
Like at first, I think a lot of people were into like at least the rest of the band were into a lot of the mainstream like songs that you're gonna know. But now
more
that
of the modern bands.
Yeah, like now that we've gotten like into the world of soul, you know, especially the record part, like the rare stuff that you have, it's definitely an influence. The album had a lot of influences from old and new bands. I know a lot of like older bands when we first wrote the first songs was like what Looking for a Place by the Spires. I'm Glad by Captain Beefheart. That's one. And obviously, As Any Wonder was like the modern inspiration.
That was our modern inspiration.
Other than that, yeah, I think obviously we still have.
It grew more.
It grew a lot more in influences. Like we listen to a bunch of everything, soul, not soul, and I think that plays a part in what we and how we play.
Can you describe like the experience of like recording the debut album with Leon and I guess it was Tommy at Tommy's Diamond West studio, right?
I think everybody should go 1-1-1.
Yeah. So
you go first.
So when we did our debut, it was really fun. Maybe the first 2 days were more nerve-wracking. There was less talking. There was more like, you know, because it's Leon, like we didn't really talk to him.
It was our first time meeting Leon.
You know, so
meeting a lot of people on the label.
So the first time, the first 2 days, mainly the first day, we were really like shy. We were all shy. From the whole band, we were all shy. But Leon kind of like try to make us get comfortable, you know, and do all that. So we showed him what we have, and he's like, okay, let's get to recording. You know, we started recording some of the songs we had. Some of the songs that are in the album we didn't have. We made them on the spot with Leon, you know. But other than that, yeah, the first 2 days it was nerve-wracking. Later on, like the third, fourth day, we're all
That's where we're like, all right, we need to go to the studio already.
We're all comfortable. We went to like In-N-Out and brought Leon some In-N-Out. We were all eating and stuff. You know, it was pretty fun now. And then the last day, we all were thinking about it. We're like, damn it, like I wish this could be a whole nother week again, you know, because it was we had so much fun, like making music and recording our music that we had written since for like a year, you know.
Right.
But other than that, Tommy, Simon and Leon, they're cool as people. They're really good people.
That's what's up. What about you, Jasmine? What was the experience like for you?
I'd say the same thing, but I think in like my perspective, like as the singer, it was like cool getting to meet Leon and Tommy, you know, because they helped me out and like trying new ways of basically singing. Like they made me learn things that I didn't know I was capable of doing, you know, in many of the songs. And it was nerve-wracking because I feel like putting yourself out there and getting comfortable is like nervous because you don't want to disappoint like Leon or Tommy, you know. But they were very like comforting about it, you know, like they would be like, okay, it's okay if you can't take it this time, just do it another time, but you're gonna get it. but I think as a band, we all learned new things that we didn't even know we were able to do, and it helped us connect a lot as a band. You know, especially when we would play the songs, we'd be like,
And I
"Wow!"
think it helped us a lot in
It
our
opened our
writing.
eyes and
Yeah.
ears. Doing all that with Leon, it opened our eyes
Yeah,
and
because
ears.
one of the songs that we wrote on the spot that same day was "Forever and Ever," which ended up being a song that is doing very well, which is why we're like, "Wow, that's cool." Like it was something new, but putting in like the work and having other people's perspectives on it, it really helped us a lot.
Yeah, it's a dope track. How about for you, Ricky? What was it like for you?
No, like what you guys said. I agree with everything. It was fun. We learned a lot. Um, Definitely will always be remembered. Like we will always remember that.
Hmm.
And I understand like what he was saying. Like at first we were very nervous. It was our first time being in like a professional studio. Our first time
Hmm.
meeting Leon, Tommy. And doing something like this, and especially recording analog. So it's kind of like you don't want to mess up at least on your first take or second. So you don't want to keep wasting tape.
Right.
And I think that kind of puts you in that perspective. Like, all right, this is going to be the best take we're going to do. Like from the first time you guys try it, you want to try your best not to mess it up at all.
Hmm.
Um, I know certain songs our guitar player was struggling a bit. I know Sabor a Mi was kind of a pain in the ass. Which other ones?
No, that one was just a
Pain in the
part
ass for our guitar player. He was
because
very
when he's
picky on
on the
notes,
melody.
and there's a little guitar solo. He does it, and
So
he
the
very
nerves, the nerves.
yeah, the nerves get to you, and his hands shaky. But also us, it got a little stressed, especially for all the new songs. I need something more. Forever and Ever. One song called All I Do that didn't make it to the album.
Cry My Tears Away was stressful.
Cry My Tears Away. It was stressful for you, I think, but for us,
Also, what we had is we had some songs already done, but also when we played them to Leon, he was like, "Okay, let's do this
kind of
song,
tweaked it,
but
right?
let's move this over here.
Like when
Let's
I
not
met
sing
you.
this part. Let's do this
Yeah.
and stuff like that." Because there's a song out there in our album called "When I Met You," and that one sounded way too different than what it sounds now. It used to be more of a little, how you say, like upbeat, like head, how you say it?
Head bump type beat.
Yeah, and then Leon was like, "Nah, let's mellow it down."
You
And
just
that was
have,
my
like,
first time ever playing with like mallets and more percussion than
Hmm.
just regular drums.
Hmm.
And he put me
less hi
through
hat
a,
in that
he
song.
put me through a test, and
Just
and
kick
that's
and drum.
that's where it comes where we're saying that it opened our eyes and ears, learning from Leon because he shows us that not everything has to be the same. You guys got to switch it up and make it sound different. So that song it was really different from what we had, and it's doing good too. It sounds really good, and
Hmm. Well, yeah, it all sounds really good to me. What's the reaction been like since like first dropping like "Don't Take Me as a Fool" like 45 to like having a music video and now the album like kind of seeing that like momentum kind of build?
It's crazy.
it's
To be honest.
crazy.
It's such a
The
drastic.
outcome that's coming out,
Like-
it gives us chills just talking about it.
Like I feel like when we dropped that first 45, the one you're talking about,
Hmm.
on the other label, that was like 2 years ago. We were barely in high school, senior year. We had a little bit of momentum going for us. We had a few shows, and that song really helped us out, get established a bit in the soul scene. But obviously, we were nothing, like we were still very starting off. It was a beginner stage type.
We were
thing.
like 18, 19.
Yeah, we were young, we were small, and we were still learning. We were very, didn't even know the things we were doing now. We couldn't even imagine it.
Mm.
And we had a year basically where we kind of were just not really doing much, after that.
There was a year when
We were kind of, in a way, unsure of what our future was, our goals on this kind of stuff,
what
we
we
were
wanted.
doing. And people still love that first 45 though. That was the thing. People always hit us up saying, they were showing a lot of support. That 45 did really well on YouTube, on streaming, but obviously we had to take it down before the old version. But even that old version was doing really well, and it still is. I know a lot of people really like that version. They even prefer it to the new one. But
it was crazy seeing people coming to our shows.
Ever since signing with Big Crown, obviously Big Crown plays a very huge part in establishing a band. They've helped us out a lot. Social media especially. You got YouTube, you got Spotify, you got Apple Music, Facebook, Instagram, especially Instagram. help you as a band. You know, they're free platforms. You know, I think every band should take advantage of those things, of the
Hmm.
tools they get, especially that Big Crown. You know, helps us. You know, with media such as a music video, and the music video did really well as well on YouTube. A
Hmm.
lot of comments, you know, showing their support, and it's cool. It's a trip still for us to even like talk
Think
about this
about it,
stuff.
yeah.
Like this year's been really
A
a
lot has
lot.
happened
A
so
lot's happened
soon.
since January. A
Yeah.
lot.
Hmm. Hmm. How has like growing up in Hawthorne like influenced your music and connection to like Chicano culture? Like, I've been to LA and San Diego and San Francisco, but I've never been to Hawthorne, so I don't know too much about it.
I feel like Hawthorne's like a perfect mix of everything because it's right in the middle. You got Inglewood on this side, you have LA more up, like downtown LA. You have
Long Beach,
Long Beach over here. It's like we're right in the middle of
middle
so
of
many
everything.
cities, and we're right by the beach too. So there's a lot of influence, you know, especially Latin culture in general over here. There's a lot of Hispanics. It's a big Hispanic uh, like amount of people here,
Hmm.
and it's mostly Hispanic in Hawthorne. So you have a lot of influences from different types of places. You have people from different type of places. Me personally, I mean, I got inspired from the music from my dad.
Most of
Him,
us do.
yeah, him growing up here in LA, especially the whole Chicano side of things. The music I've always heard as a kid was always, you know, funk, you know, old hip hop, and it's soul music. Um,
Hmm.
and used to when he started getting into record collecting, that's when I really started hearing a lot more as well. Um, you know, he would spin music in the living room, and I'd wake up to oldies playing. I was small. I didn't even like the music at the time. I would just hear it, and I would think it's grandpa music. You know, I'd just be like, "It's
Hmm.
the same song you're playing on the turntable." He'd be like, "No, you're not hearing it." And I'm like, and now I look back, and I'm like, "Damn, like he's right. I'm not hearing it." You know, now I
Hmm.
hear it, and now we write that music. But yeah, definitely. For me personally, a lot was just my dad. Who I grew up around with, my family. Um, that's kind of the that kind of plays a huge part in basically what we do now, and the
Yeah.
Hmm.
music we play. So in that sound, you know, I feel like that
Hmm.
sound comes out naturally. It's not like we're trying to force it.
George, as the old man of the band, do you see like your role in the group kind of changed, or like how do you like contribute to the band's like dynamic? I guess.
Can you repeat it again? My bad.
I was just
I,
curious, like how maybe your role has like kind of shifted or changed, or like how you contribute like to the band.
well, yeah, they call me the old people, the old guy,
Oh
you
man,
know.
yeah.
Even though I'm just 1 year above them, but
That year makes a huge difference.
and stuff like that. But like he was saying, to be honest,
I think you're very. I think you help us a lot, you know, in technical stuff because we don't really sometimes like he teaches us a lot on uh,
not to say
what's
it's
the
not
word
it's not saying like I have more experience in the music
like musically.
and musically.
He's been
Mhm.
doing it longer, especially than me. I mean, all of them have than me, but
It's
he's been
the
doing it, I think, the longest, and that
it's
kind of
Mhm.
oh, our battery's low. My bad.
charger.
Um, so that helps him kind of in a way guide us when we're kind of lost during
Yeah,
certain things like songs in general, like songwriting. I think.
Mhm.
yeah. So
And him
basically,
being a drummer.
I started when I was like 14, 13. I always wanted to play guitar when I was small. I never had the patience of it because you know you need patience for an instrument. So around 14, I started playing guitar first, but it wasn't my main thing until I went to middle school and I met this one teacher named Mr. Peters that we put him behind our album as a thanks for.
Mhm.
Um, he's the one, him and my other teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, he's the one that kind of got me, Walter, Jeff, and Peter together.
Mhm.
And basically, he's the one that showed us all these stuff. But to be honest, out of everyone, I was the one that was more into it. You know, I
Mhm.
was so interested on
Recording.
from recording to live presence to all that stuff. You know, because we used to be in a program called Rock Band, and
Mhm.
that basically that program with Mr. Rodriguez, shout out Mr. Rodriguez, he would give us he would show us how to play live for people, you know. So we would do like we would play live for the whole school, and he
Mm.
would show us from breaking down to setting up the whole PA system to connecting all speakers, all the snakes, all that stuff. And I was really interested to it, so I put more attention to that.
Mm.
And that's where he comes, where he says that I help him out on more stuff
It
like
helps
that,
us as a band because we're
more
not
of a
familiar with a lot.
more stuff like that, you know, like I help them out on like connecting. She knows her stuff too because her brothers do all that too.
Mhm.
And she went to one of those kind of programs in her side of her school because she did go to a different school than us. We went to Hawthorne High School and she went to
Linus Academy.
Lennox Academy.
Mm.
And so I know all my I don't know all my stuff, you know,
Mhm.
but I know some stuff. And yeah, so I tell these guys, you know, from you guys, we sometimes we gotta play with a metronome where like you guys have to be in pocket, this and that, and then it comes from because we practice at my house, so I'm the one that's connecting the PA for her. I'm the one that owns some of these speakers that they use in shows, you know. So
Mhm.
I show them a bit that sometimes, especially like you know, Ricky was more of a newcomer because Peter and them we were together already. You know,
Right.
Ricky was new for him, and I try whatever he didn't learn from me, he learns it from someone else. But from what he have learned from me is I try to help him out. You know, from what's a DI box, from all that
Mhm.
stuff. You know, and yeah, and we all just help each other. You know,
Yeah.
Ricky helped us on finding new bands because his dad was a collector and he has multiple 45s that we have got put on.
Mm.
A shit ton.
And
Mhm.
so yeah,
Mhm.
so we help each other out in the band, to be honest.
I think everybody has their part
Yeah.
in terms of tech, in terms of just music wise, in terms of
Mhm.
writing, in terms of all of that.
Right
Um,
on.
yeah, definitely George has a lot to play in the tech side of things. I mean, he
That's
knows the
dope.
most.
Yeah, setting up, breaking down, all that can be, kind of a thankless job, but it's important,
Yeah.
especially when the band's just getting started.
Yeah.
If you need to take a second to plug in a charger or anything, feel free. I was gonna ask Jasmine, like, did you have any memorable moments from like the live performances, like especially the last couple shows or any in the past,
Um,
maybe?
yes, especially the ones that just passed. I think seeing people sing our songs kind of put like a knot in my throat. I don't know if they felt it, but that really hit me, because we look back to see like what we worked on and the times where we felt like it wasn't going to go anywhere. And I think seeing people actually enjoy what you enjoy doing, like, makes you feel like you're doing it right, like you're going the right way. You got to keep going, because there is people who are listening to our music.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think these last three shows, the crowds were amazing. I mean, they were supportive and very comforting for us, especially, because this is our first time headlining three shows.
Mm-hmm.
So the crowd was just there, they were present, they were there.
They were
um,
into it.
yeah, we felt the love and support from all of them.
They were
That's dope.
singing Forever and Ever. Like we just let the crowd sing and they sang.
Yeah.
It got us goosebumps
Yeah, it
and
got us emotional.
Yeah.
emotional
That's dope.
seeing people sing our own songs that we've made, you know. It
How
feels nice.
how has y'all's families like reacted to your music? I know initially like Ricky, your dad like heard the demo and stuff, but like since then, like hearing the full album or some of the 45s that came later, what is like
Well,
the y'all's family's reactions been like?
all of our families are really supportive. My parents, in general, they're really supportive. They like it, you know. Uh, say my dad and my mom never listened to like
Oldies.
oldies, but say they did because they listened to more of that
Spanish
Latinos
ballads.
oldies, so like boleros, like Luis
They know that that's kind of
Miguel.
considered still
You know,
oldies
like
too.
Luis Miguel does boleros, all that stuff, you know. So they like all that stuff. Um, and they listen to like the mainstream oldies that's so like Smokey Robinson and stuff like that. But other than
Mhm.
that, they're really supportive. Um, my mom loves that I changed my music taste because
She wasn't
when
big on the Metallica and the
she
Dio.
wasn't too much of a fan on me being in that type of music. You know, I don't know why. You know, just Hispanics sometimes have a different view of metal. You know, metal music.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that was crazy and stuff. But I still listen to it. I still go to shows. I still do all that. I just saw Metallica not too long ago. So other than that, my family is really supportive.
That's dope.
So is mine. I think growing up in like a musical family, they're bound to be supportive about it. But my mom has been always supportive. She tries to make it out to every one of my shows. Even
Mhm.
if it means like she's taking away too many days off from work that she's not supposed to. She still shows up and she's always supporting us through her social medias
She
and
was one of the
everything.
loudest at the
Yeah,
show.
she
That's
starts
dope.
the
That's
crowd.
Hype, get your up, get her hyped up. Like as far as the songwriting process, it sounds like everybody kind of takes a piece. Is that accurate? Like it all kind of comes together
Yeah,
as a
pretty
group,
much.
like bits and pieces, right?
Yeah, I think everybody.
Yeah, sometimes it's Ricky. Sometimes it's like he comes up. He's like, "Hey, look, I just made this melody on the guitar," you know.
Yeah, 'cause
And
for me,
then
I mean, it's easiest to write for me in guitar, and I play keys. But I feel for this music, I don't know, it's easier to write on guitar, and I show Jasmine like chord progression or George.
yeah, so he
He
just
comes up
comes.
with the beat, and then we just
He just
from there.
sometimes comes to my house because we practice in my house, you know. And he comes up, hey, I just brought this I just made up this melody, and he shows it. Sometimes I don't jump on drums, sometimes I jump on bass, and I'm like, okay, play the melody, and I play bass, you know. And
Mhm.
so we all put our stuff, but it's mainly sometimes, like I said, sometimes we don't even play our own instrument, and when we're making the song, sometimes I jump on bass. The first songs that we've made, sometimes I was jumping on guitar. But other than that, yeah, someone comes up with a melody, they show it to us, and everyone puts their thing. Jasmine gets to writing. She starts writing her lyrics, putting her magic in her lyrics, and then Peter sometimes. We have a song that we're making right now. Peter just jumped on drums. He
Mm.
never played drums, but just
Oh yeah,
all of a sudden he
we started
jumped
playing a
on.
whole trap beat.
He jumped on drums, and we're making a new song right now.
Mm.
And yes,
Yeah, I think everybody switched. You're on bass.
everyone
He's on drums.
switched.
I'm on guitar.
I'm on bass. Uh, Walter's on
I think
keys.
Jasmine hopped on ukulele too.
No, so yeah, so we all hopped on, and that's looking forward to that one. We're if it ever comes out that song,
Mm.
we're
Maybe on
trying
second
to
album for sure.
and we're trying on stage. We're gonna switch.
Yeah.
It'll be our first time
Instruments.
switching on.
Have y'all connected with any of the contemporary bands like Jason Joshua or Duran Jones or These Sacred
Yeah,
Souls?
they've
Or
all shown their support. Like all of them. We've talked to them. I mean, majority of all of them. They've reached out.
They're
At least
really
at one point.
supportive. They're really supportive.
Especially with the album. Joey Quinones, all members of the Sacred Souls,
Altons.
the Altons, everybody. Los Yesterdays, who we played with already multiple times this year.
All of them.
They're all so supportive. They all shown their love to us. We've met a few. We've met already a few modern bands. We played with a few modern bands, and we're still going to keep playing. We have a few more shows coming up with
Mhm.
other guys and other bands that are playing the same music.
Mhm.
And they've all been really supportive. All the feedback, and it's cool meeting them. When we
And
first started, we would watch them on YouTube, and then
Especially Big Crown, we met all of them.
oh yeah, and our label mates, of course, Brain Story.
So-
Shout out Bobby, shout out Lady Ray, shout out all of them.
Mhm.
Surprise Chef, all of them. They've shown all their love to
The
us.
funny thing is, after that whole week that we did in the studio, we finished Friday. On Saturday, we had the showcase with Big Crown, and that's
That's
when we
fun,
played.
yeah.
That's where we played with Bobby, Lady Ray,
Brain Story,
Brain Story,
Surprise Chef.
Surprise Chef, all of them. So it was pretty cool.
That felt good, I guess, right?
Yeah, we even told Bobby our story because a year before that
We had
We-
seen Bobby in concert.
we
him
went
and-
to go
him and Brain
to,
Story.
and
Mhm.
now we're like, that's crazy. Now we're playing together, you know.
Yeah,
But
that's
back
dope.
then, a year ago,
Sure.
we were buying tickets to go watch Bobby at Brain Story. Yeah.
Now you get to sit by the stage when it's their turn, right? So what are your plans like for the future? Like, obviously, album just dropped, promoting that and playing shows. I think Ricky, you had talked about maybe some plans to tour that maybe kind of being up in the air as far as who with and everything. But
Zero.
Yeah, definitely a tour. Hopefully, soon. I know we've had some things in the works, like in the talks, I guess, with our booking agent.
Mhm.
We're still working on certain things. Kind of want to let the album marinate for a bit, let people hear it, let the world hear it, and let the music go to different places of the world and of the country. And we have a few more shows coming up this year lined up. We have shows already kind of scheduled for next year,
Mhm.
and definitely working on more music. But this album, see how it is, see how it goes, see the feedback, which has been really good,
Yeah.
and then start working on that second album. Never stop
Mhm.
writing music,
Right.
and I think this kind of opened our eyes to really be motivated to keep going, and especially with Big Crown, we want to be prepared when we get that call from Leon again. So.
Mhm. I was gonna kind of go through y'all's discography. Do you need to charge or get?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about
I
to
think we
die.
should
So.
charge it. Real quick.
Okay. Y'all just want to wrap up and we'll maybe catch up another time?
No, you want to listen to the charger?
You have it?
Or you want to switch? You want to switch to a phone? We join back in.
No, it's not going to be the same with the audio. It's not going to work. So I think if you want, we can resume this. I don't know when you guys are available. I can do it tomorrow if you guys want.
It's all good. We can pick it up another time. I just wanted to,
When you see her computer,
I think another time for sure.
And she forgot the
This
charger.
It's all good. I actually have an interview with Catch a Fire, a reggae band from New Zealand on Saturday. So just wanted to mention that. And my buddy DJ Barnacles will be playing an all reggae mix afterwards. So appreciate y'all, the Hard Tones, taking the time. Be sure to check out their new album on Big Crown. And
Yes.
we'll be looking for new music when it drops. But all the 45s sound really dope, and the album sounds really good. So y'all should be really proud. All right, y'all have a good evening.
All right,
Thank
you too.
you as
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you.
Later.
Peace.